The main monster we're using here is Worm Noble. Now it's an interesting card because it's a level 6 light monster with a flip effect that says if this card is flipped face up by an opponent's attack, inflict damage equal to half of the attacking monsters. By doing so, you can deal a pretty critical blow to your opponent, and if that attack was weaker than the defense, of course they still take the damage. Now the cool thing about Worm Noble is we can use Worm Noble's cards to summon him. There's lots of different cards for this archetype, mostly monsters, but there is one spell that's very helpful. Worm Call. Now this card is very interesting. It's not in this particular build, but I basically replaced Soul Exchange with this card, but I still want you to know about it anyway. Once per turn, if your opponent controls a monster and you control no monsters, you can special summon one reptile worm monster from your hand face down. Now what's cool about that is you get a free summon on your Worm Noble, and they're gonna attack into it, but that's when you spring your traps, my boy. Starch Defender, Wall of Disruption, or Mirror Wajo. These are the choices that we use for the back row. Now, if you don't know what this card does to Starch Defender, you really need to get acquainted with it, especially in this meta. It could be helpful. Starch Defender says when you activate this card, all monsters on the field in face-up attack position must attack the selected target, and that's it. Now the cool thing about it is, if you select a monster and that monster's destroyed, and there are still monsters on the field that have not attacked, the battle phase is ended immediately. If some people may not have known that, but that is a little bit of nuanced tech for that card. I've also thrown in Lady Assailant of the Flames, because there's been a few duels where they've only had 800 life points left and I weren't able to get them. So I put in Lady Assailant of the Flames to remedy that. Now here's a big starter deck that you probably never even thought of or even saw before. Worm Solid. Do me a solid and get in there for game. This card gains 100 attack for each reptile monster in the graveyard, which is kinda irrelevant, but it is what it is. If this card takes damage from an attacking monster, at the end of the damage step, select the spell or trap on the field and destroy it. You might think that that's stupid and random, but it allows us to gain control, because sometimes when it comes down to the end game, all you need is a sacrifice. And here we have is Worm Aroken. Now this monster is extra dank. He cannot be special summoned, but you can special summon him with Worm Call and put him face down. You can select one reptile worm monster on the field and change it to face down defense, which is pretty cool because you can use his effect to go ahead and change Worm Noble to defense and put him face down.